Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. A few days ago I asked you guys to submit your questions for a Q&A, and today I will be answering those questions. I wrote down some of the most common asked questions, and one of the most common questions that I got was, why did I quit HR? And I actually didn't quit HR. HR quit on me, if you will. At the start of the pandemic in 2020, I can't believe we're going on 2 years, but yes. At the start of the pandemic, I was laid off. So I had started that specific job in January. So typically the last one in is the first one out when it comes to layoffs, and that's what happened. I later found out that at the end of summer 2020, the whole HR department in that hospital was laid off and outsourced. That is crazy. So even if I hadn't gotten laid off in April, I still would have gotten laid off at the end of summer. Everything happens for a reason. I am really happy right now, and I have been really happy these past 2 years. Do you ever plan on going back to HR? I'm never going to say I'll never go back to HR, because whenever you say never, life has a way of making a fool out of yourself. So I never say never. What I will say is that I currently have no plans to go back into HR within the next 6 months or even a year. But that doesn't mean that something could happen and I have a change of heart and I want to go back to HR. But as of right now, I have no plans of doing so. Was it easy for you to get up and leave Boston? How did you manage such a huge change? It was easy for me, if I'm being honest. I never felt attached to Boston. I lived in Boston for I think 11 years, and I never saw Boston as a permanent home. When I moved there, I literally wanted to move back to upstate New York. I'm not really a city girl. I grew up in upstate New York. Like, New York City was like 6-7 hours away from us. I've always liked that life. I've always liked the quiet life. I am grateful for being able to live in Boston and for being able to go to school in Boston. That was a great experience. But again, I never felt attached to the city. I never felt like I never wanted to leave. I know people that live in Boston and they would never even think of leaving the city because they love it so much. And I just think that people have different preferences, different priorities. And for me, living in the city, overpaying for rent was just not a priority anymore. And I wanted a slower lifestyle. When you live in the city, you're forced to go fast, 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 and go, go, go. I did like that life when I was younger, but the older I get, the more I want a slower lifestyle. It definitely was easy for me to make the decision and come to terms with the fact that we were leaving Boston. We're lucky enough that we didn't really have any urgent issues come up during our move. That's why I felt so calm during the move, because I was like, okay, nothing bad is happening, nothing is going wrong. That means we're meant to be in Florida. Because normally when you try to push something that's not meant for you, there are signs and there are things that happen that tell you, like, hold on, take a step back and rethink your decision here. Of course, there are things that did cause a little bit of like anxiety, like, oh, we're moving to a new state, we don't know anyone there, we don't have any family there. It definitely was a little bit scary in that perspective, but I'm also really good with change. I don't fear change. I actually welcome change. So if you're the type of person that doesn't do well with change, but you're looking to embrace it, just recognize that life sometimes has a mind of its own, and even if you have certain plans, life is going to be like, just kidding, those are not the plans for you, and you just have to keep rolling with the punches. Stop trying to force things. If it's meant for you, it's going to be for you, and there's no need to force things. Another question related to Boston was, do you miss Boston and would you ever move back? Of course, there are days when I do miss Boston. I miss how easy it was to get from point A to point B in Boston. I was able to walk everywhere. I was able to take the T everywhere. Versus here in Tampa, I have to Uber everywhere because I don't have a car, and I really don't want a car right now. I also don't have my driver's license, so that's another thing entirely. It's a lot harder to get from point A to point B here, and that definitely has been an adjustment. Would I ever move back to Boston? So I wouldn't be against owning property in Massachusetts, not in the city. Like, I wouldn't mind having a house maybe on Cape Cod or near the woods in Massachusetts. Maybe it's like a seasonal property and I rent it out during the rest of the year, but I don't really see myself ever moving back to the city. Again, never say never. Things happen. You never know where life may lead you. I may end up back in Boston, who knows? So I never say never, but as of right now, I don't really see that happening at all. Tips on meeting new people in Tampa. I have none. I haven't really met met anyone here in Tampa. Our apartment building does have like weekly community neighbor activities, but I never freaking go, and that would be an excellent way to meet new people. I just never go. And if you also live in a community, maybe ask the leasing office if there are any community events coming up that a bunch of neighbors are going to get together. That would be an excellent way. Other than that, I have no idea. If anyone knows how to meet people in a new city, in a new state, leave them in the comments below and help us out. Also, someone asked me what are some of my Christmas traditions, and growing up, I will have to say that Christmas Eve was normally the big day for us. Christmas Eve is where we dress up, where there's a bunch of food, a bunch of drinks, you dance to Spanish music, you drink coquito, then you go to bed and wake up super early on Christmas Day and open up the gifts. But then Christmas Day, you're literally in pajamas all day. You don't do anything. You just sit on the couch and relax. As a married woman now, I pretty much do the same thing with my husband. It's just us, especially this year since we live in Florida and we know no one here. On Christmas Eve, we tend to open up a bottle of wine. I know last year we just wore cozy Christmas sweaters and we watch Christmas movies and we eat good food that I cook. And then we open one gift on Christmas Eve and we open the rest of our gifts together on Christmas morning. And I'm really excited to start a family and start new Christmas traditions with my kids, because there are certain things that I want to do that I didn't have when I was younger and I didn't have in my childhood. So it'd be really exciting to start new traditions with our family. So someone asked, what do you like to do for fun and what's your favorite genre of music? So I'm pretty much a homebody. I love being home, but if I have to go out, I just love going to the movies. Trying new experiences, trying something out of my comfort zone is something that I really like to do, even if I'm nervous and anxious days leading up to it. But we enjoy going out to eat. Before this whole thing with the pandemic started, we used to really enjoy going to plays in Boston. I don't know if there's any plays here in Tampa, but that was one of the big things that we used to do in the city. And just spending time together and trying new experiences is what I love to do. But honestly, I'm such a chill person. I don't really need a lot of entertainment or a lot of stimulation to be happy. Like, I'm perfectly fine just sitting on my couch and doing absolutely nothing. Like, I'm such a laid back type of person. If there are days that I'm constantly going out, I'm exhausted and I absolutely hate it. Favorite type of music? I honestly gravitate towards Spanish music more, if I'm being honest. I do like English music. Like, I love Ariana Grande. I love Adele. I'm a sucker for like a good ballad that will like literally make me cry, even if I've never experienced what the singer is singing about. I'm also a sucker for upbeat music like pop, reggaeton, like all that stuff. I even love rap music. If it's like rap that they're actually rapping about things that matter, then I'm all for it. But if it's like mumble rap, drugs, sex, I'm not here for that. I also have some YouTube related questions. What made you start a YouTube channel? Honestly, I was just bored. I've said this before on my channel. My husband was the one that actually pushed me to make a YouTube channel because all I would do was work. I literally would go to work from 7 a.m. to about 4. I wouldn't get home to about 4:30 or 5. And it was also a time where I was starting to feel post-grad blues. Like, I went from having absolutely no time to do anything because I was working full-time, going to school full-time, and then all of a sudden I had all this time and I was like, what do I do with this? And I wanted a hobby, so I started a YouTube channel. And then someone said, how do you get over your fear of starting a YouTube channel? Don't focus on the fact that you feel afraid. When you feel afraid before you're about to start something, that's normal. It's out of your comfort zone. Of course you're going to be nervous, of course you're going to be anxious, but don't let those emotions take over, and don't care about what anyone in your life thinks about you starting a YouTube channel. Who cares? If you want to start a YouTube channel, then just start. Honestly, the hardest thing when it comes to starting a YouTube channel or starting a blog is just starting. Once people get over the fact of that initial hump of sitting down and filming a video and then editing it and then uploading it, you're good to go, and kind of the anxiety and fear goes away over time. When I first started my YouTube channel, I literally filmed on my iPhone 10. I edited it on iMovie. I didn't spend any extra money because I had no idea if I was actually going to like making YouTube videos. So I honestly recommend to not spend any money, just film on your phone, especially the new iPhone that just just came out, the iPhone 13. It takes excellent videos, so you don't really need a fancy camera, especially if you're just starting out, and just start making videos. Who cares what anyone else has to say? If you're just making YouTube videos because you want to and you're passionate about what you're going to talk about, then just do it. Everything else will fall into place. Honestly, just embrace the fear, don't let it control you, and just start your YouTube channel. It's normal to be afraid, it's normal to feel anxious. Just don't let that stop you from starting a YouTube channel or from starting a blog or whatever it is. And this applies to anything in life. If you want to do a career change, do it. If you want to cut your hair, do it. Don't let fear stop you. That I'm a huge believer in that. Of course, sometimes I feel anxious, I feel afraid before I start something new, but that's perfectly normal. And I never let that fear stop me from doing what I want to do, because then what's the point of living? You're always going to stay within your comfort zone. You're never going to grow and you're never going to learn new things if you do that. So lean into the fear, embrace it, and just start whatever it is that you want to start. How do you deal with negativity on and off social media? And the short answer is I don't deal with it. I don't have time for it. Off social media, I just honestly walk away and I cut people off left and right. I have no issues cutting people off. I know that can sound a little harsh, but I really don't. If you've already had a conversation with someone and you've told them that you don't like what they're doing and how it affects you, and they completely disregard you and they don't try to improve or stop what they're doing, then cut them off, because you've already addressed the problem, you've already given them a chance to fix the problem and they're not. Or if I don't want to cut them off, I just limit my interactions with them. For social media negativity, I have been experiencing this quite a bit within the last few weeks. I think the more exposure my videos get, the more people want to troll. Whoever writes a negative comment on someone's picture, someone's video, someone's blog, they're just trolls. At first, when I started my YouTube channel, I would respond to the troll because I'm pretty sassy and I have no problem being sassy, but I've learned to not respond because they thrive on pissing you off, on irritating you, on hurting your feelings, and then when you respond to them, they're like, oh my god, they took time out of their day to respond to my troll comment, I win. And then it just never ends. So I honestly would say that if you're dealing with negativity on social media, just don't respond, block them, and keep it pushing. Don't let them take over your life, your mental health. Also, I think it's easier to deal with negativity once you're confident about who you are and the type of person that you are. I think dealing with negativity or mean comments can be a little tricky when you really don't know who you are, or you're not confident in who you are, or you're a people pleaser. I think that once you know that you don't take any BS from absolutely anyone, whether that's on social media or off social media, it's a lot easier to not let the negativity get to you. And if you find yourself comparing yourself to maybe an influencer or YouTuber, just unfollow them. It doesn't mean that you don't like them as a person, but if watching them is making you feel bad about yourself, just unfollow them. It's not their fault. Don't try to blame your insecurities on that person, but if it's hurting your mental health, just unfollow them. Or if the person is in your life and you don't want to unfollow them because it'll start drama, just mute them on Instagram, mute them on YouTube, and that's pretty much it. But those are all the questions for today's video. I hope you got to know me a little bit more with all of my answers to your questions. I will be filming a reacting to your assumptions video very soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this little Q&A. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you a part of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.